So many times when I share my strawberry trees, people are surprised at their small size and ask me, hey, are these trees or just bushes? And I remind them that I tried to say always in my videos about the Arbutus unidos and Arbutus marinas and other varieties of strawberry trees that they are slow growing. However, here at the Botanical Gardens today, I have found some very large ones, and they are full of their green strawberry fruits, which will ripen over the course of the winter, usually being ready to harvest in January and February, some sooner than that perhaps. Hi, I'm Kim, and today is all about strawberry trees and how tall do they get anyway. I'm going to discuss the height potential of various arbutus tree species and show you in person because I've discovered an older grove of arbutus trees just an hour north of me. So you'll be able to see it firsthand. And if you stick with me to the end, I will also let you see how much my two oldest arbutus trees have grown over the last 4 years. Given that they're a very slow growing tree, I've been surprised at just how much they have grown. There are probably 12 to 15, maybe even 20 trees here, and they're just gorgeous. You can see that they have pruned them up. Not a lot, but enough so that you can see the interesting bark. These are Arbutus unidos, and so their bark, while peeling and attractive, isn't the gorgeous red, deep red that the Arbutus marinas are. Obviously, there is a definite red hue, but it's nothing like what you would see on the Arbutus marina. Often the newer growth has the stronger red tone, and so that's always nice, and you can prune to get more new growth if that's what you want to see. But in general, if you really want the deep red bark, you're going to want to get a different variety than the unido. However, the unido is the most hardy. So you've seen the Arbutus unido bark, brown with a hint of red, especially in the new growth. Here is an Arbutus marina, and let's take a look at its bark. Isn't that gorgeous? Might be hard to see in this intense sun, but take it from me, it's very, very dark cinnamon red and peeling. Just so beautiful. But yes, if you grow the small Arbutus marinas that you will get at the nursery, unless you pay many hundreds of dollars for a larger one, your tree will grow to be this height if you're in the right climate for it. But it will take time. So yes, when I show you the strawberry trees that I'm growing, my Arbutus unidos and Arbutus marinas, they are smaller, but don't hate them for their lack of size. They will get bigger. And even at their current small stature, they're producing fruit that I'm enjoying using in smoothies and popping fresh in my mouth frozen. That's a great treat. It's like a wonderful little popsicle in a ball. This is my Arbutus unido. It is 8 years old. It was planted in 2016, shown in my first videos in 2020 at 4 years old. It is now over 6 feet tall, grown quite a few feet, and really bulked out. Very happy with it. As we said, the new growth is red, but the older growth though is a brown, peeling though, so still very attractive. And this plant is constantly trying to grow taller. I've actually cut it back quite a ways because I've been trying to let my Arbutus marina catch up with it. So probably this tree would be more like 10 feet tall rather than just over 6 feet if I hadn't been cutting it back every year to keep it in check. Now my Arbutus marina, which was planted in 2018, is now 6 years old. First shown on my channel 4 years ago when it was 2 years old, and it was so short and so sparse it's hard to believe it's the same plant. I know they grow slowly, but this is about 5 feet tall now, and more than that, it's about 5 feet wide. Grown so many side branches, really filled out, and constantly giving me new growth. Soon it will catch up to the Arbutus unido. Now, in my very first video or two about the strawberry trees, I mentioned that I thought these were both Arbutus unidos, and yet I had my suspicions about this one because I did notice that the bark was more red. And I did notice that the blossoms, when they actually, turn into blossoms, were a much darker pink than the Unito's white with pink tinges. And those differences have only grown stronger through the years. So it was not long before I confirmed that this, in fact, was not an Arbutus Unito, but an Arbutus marina. And it's come to be my very favorite Arbutus species of all. Now here you can see more fruits just coming on. Like citrus, they will produce consistently throughout the winter. And yet when you're harvesting fruit in the late winter, you'll already be seeing more blossoms for another year's worth of fruit growth. Now there are three main species of Arbutus trees that are popular in the United States and in Europe, and those are the Arbutus Unito, the Arbutus Andrachne, and the hybrid Arbutus marina. Now the Arbutus Unito, otherwise known as the Irish strawberry tree, or cane apple, is native to Ireland and the Mediterranean, and really all of Great Britain. The Arbutus Andrachne, or the Greek strawberry tree, is native to, Greece and all of the Mediterranean. And finally, the Arbutus marina, which is a hybrid, a cross between other Arbutus species. This hybrid was developed in California and first officially named and sold in 1984. It's by far my favorite of all of the Arbutus tree species, although I love the Unito also. And I grow a few others. But yes, the merino, with its wonderfully gorgeous peeling cinnamon bark and its deeply pink chandelier-like blossoms, is, unbeatable in my opinion in the realm of beauty, both the bark and the blossoms. So yeah, it's won my heart. Of course, there are other species of Arbutus trees, many others, some of which are the Arbutus halepensis or Arbutus texana, known as the Texas madrone. That's native, by the way, there in Texas. And the Arbutus andrachnoides and many others. But yes, by far the most popular are the Unito, the Andrachne, and the marina. Now, the Arbutus Andrachne and the Arbutus marina are said to grow 20 to 40 feet tall and wide, though that takes quite a number of years to accomplish that feat. While the Arbutus Unito, if you look online and do some research, you'll usually see it said is a medium-sized tree or even smaller that only grows 10 to 15 feet tall. However, if you do a little deeper research, you'll discover that it's also said these trees sometimes grow 20, 30, even 40 feet tall. And as you've seen already in the clips from the botanical gardens, yes, Arbutus Unitos definitely, here in Northern California anyway, can grow 30 to 40 feet tall. Now, all three of these species, the Unito, the Andrachne, and the marina, are hardy in zones 7 to 10. However, the Unito is commonly recognized as being the hardiest of them all, with it being proven to survive in zone 6, and with many gardeners saying they grow these trees, the Arbutus Unitos, in zone 5 and do just fine. Obviously, if you have an older tree, it is going to be able to withstand much colder temperatures than a very young tree. So if you're starting young trees, you definitely want to protect them if you're in a cooler climate. But this grove does give you an idea of the fact that you can have very tall trees if you keep the trunks pruned up so that you don't have branches growing out of the bottom. You get to see the very interesting structure of the branches, which is kind of fascinating actually. My strawberry trees, which I got at a very young age, and they were only about 2 feet tall at that point, they're doing very well, and I'm still considering whether I want to let them grow up like this or if I want to keep them bushier, fuller, and shorter. There's something to be said for both ways of growing them. Now, it's definitely possible to prune your Arbutus trees however you like. You can keep them at a lower height if you'd like. You can let them grow as tall as they can, and you can prune up all of the bottom branches. So recently, I did prune some branches that were almost on the ground, and I'm actually trying to propagate some strawberry trees, some Arbutus marinas, from those cuttings. And if you were to continue cutting off the branches, all those branches you see right there, even coming up the tree, some of those, you could actually make this tree, rather than a multi-branched tree, what is called a standard tree. I will show you here a clip of arbutus trees that have been pruned in standard form that I took at a nursery last year. And you can buy these trees at many nurseries. They'll be a lot more expensive than getting a young multi-branched one. I'd suggest that if you want a standard tall one, you just get a younger one and prune it yourself. Personally, with my Arbutus marina and my Arbutus unido here, I'm not sure whether I want to do that. I actually think I like the multi-branch look a lot better than the boring standard look. So I will probably continue to just prune off the branches that are right at ground level, avoiding, too much humidity and letting more oxygen flow there, but keeping the multi-branched look. Maybe in the future, I might prune off more of the branches so that we can see more of the bark. But for now, I'm just gonna let them do what they do. Now, so far in the grove up north, we've seen the Arbutus unidos, but we're also going to see another species of Arbutus. Now, this Arbutus tree is not labeled, so I don't know what specimen it is. I know it's not an Arbutus marina because the blossoms are a pale lime green before they, I think, are going to turn white. A few of them do look like they're about to turn white, whereas the Arbutus marina blossoms are definitely pink. Even the Arbutus unido blossoms, which are white, have a pink tinge to them, and the bark on this tree is much redder. However, if it has peeled, it's done peeling now. This is really interesting. I don't know what this is. And if I didn't see these, I would wonder if it even was an Arbutus. But it's right here next to the Arbutus Grove, and I do see these. So it definitely is an Arbutus, a very, very tall Arbutus. Goodness, I'd say this is 40 feet tall, maybe 50. And nowhere on any of the branches do I see any peeling. Okay, I found another specimen just like that one, and it has a label. I guess I've never seen one of these in person. It is an Arbutus andrachnae. Now, I have a child of this tree, which was a cross between this tree and another, and it's an interesting tree, but this I've never seen, Spanish andrachnae. Now I know. And it has the same thing going on the trunk. I will need to figure out what that is. Never seen it or heard of it before. It's probably something obvious that I should know about, but I don't. And that's what I love about growing trees and plants, is the discovery element. Yeah, I really would say it's a woodpecker, except some of it just looks not like a woodpecker. Okay, so I did some research and I discovered that my instincts were correct. That made me feel so good because often they're not correct. But yes, this is woodpecker damage. And I discovered a lot more than that. I discovered that there are 10 different kinds of holes that woodpeckers damage trees with for 10 different reasons. And this particular damage that we saw on these trees was done by what I thought was a mythical woodpecker, but no, it's real. It's the yellow-bellied sapsucker. Just saying that name makes me laugh because, I don't know, I must have heard it all of my life jokingly, the yellow-bellied sapsucker. I didn't know it was a real bird, let alone a woodpecker. And it's the one responsible for the damage that we've seen on these trees. These holes are called phloem wells. Phloem is the vascular tissue in the tree's inner bark that moves sugars and other organic nutritional compounds from the leaves down through the tree. The yellow-bellied sapsucker taps into the tree in late spring and early summer to get to the nutrients that are flowing through the phloem. The birds tap just deeply enough to get what they want, so usually they only do surface-level damage to the tree. Now, I don't know if the andrachnae variety of Arbutus is less likely to be multi-branched, as are the Arbutus unido and Arbutus marina. It looks like it though. This one only has one main trunk, one major branch there, and a few there. And the other one only has one main trunk, which goes up much higher before it branches off. I think this little grove of strawberry trees is just beautiful and so peaceful. And definitely thinking about planting a grove like this. From everything I've seen here and in the Bay Area at different botanical gardens I've gone to, I'm gonna say that my favorites are still the Arbutus marina and Arbutus unido. And so I'm glad that those are the main ones I'm growing. Especially the marina, because I just absolutely love its deep pink blossoms and its incredibly lovely peeling red bark. Really glad though to finally have examples of mature full-size strawberry trees to show you all what you can expect in time as you grow your own strawberry trees and as I continue to grow mine. Now, if you have any questions about the Arbutus trees, be sure to ask them in the comments. I'm not an expert about the Arbutus trees, but I have learned a lot over the years, and I'm happy to pass along what I've learned, my thoughts and my experiences to you. But if you are interested in maybe seeing what my Arbutus trees looked like 4 years ago, when I did my very first video about Arbutus trees, I will link it at the end of the video and in the description below. I also talk about the origins and the history of the various Arbutus species. And so I will link all the videos, there's several of them that I've done on the strawberry trees so far. And just so you know, the first few videos I did were done early in my channel when I tended to be a little more long-winded, let's say. Still a lot of valuable information there, but be warned, I talk quite a bit. Now, if you'd like to see the first video, it's right here. And if you'd like to see some ways I enjoy eating my strawberry fruit, well, then you can watch the video right here. Thanks for joining me today, and until next time, happy gardening.